Hello, welcome to another edition of Talking Shit. It's it's April the 10th, 2016. I'm DeAndre. You know who this is, our friend and comrade of all things critical, Todd. Yay, Todd is here. Todd. Did you get that? Okay. All right, I'm stuttering and stuff because I've been broadcasting on you now like for the last month, and we're simulcasting right now. And there's a couple of people in the audience, not many. Todd, what's going on? How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. Drove down here. It was a pretty nice drive.
You like it?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I'm wearing the same shirt that I always wear when I come here because I want people to think that this is the only shirt that I wear.
So send the money now. Go to my tip jar. Look at buy this motherfucker a shirt. What do you think about the I wanted to talk to you. The reason why I invited you up is because the election, these primary, these type elections, the runoffs and stuff, it's getting pretty tight. I thought Hillary would be running away with it by now. She's having some problems, right?
Yeah, she is. She definitely is. It's funny. I heard something the other day. I don't know if you ever. Have you heard of the Young Turks? It's
I love the Young Turks. And the number one broadcasting team in the history of the internet.
They're pretty good. And they weren't talking to him, but they had interview footage of her campaign manager. And
they got him on there?
No, he wasn't on the show.
Oh,
they were, you know how they pick apart stuff. And he was straight up talking about aliens in Area 51 and how she would be requesting that information and trying to get things declassified and shit like that. That's what he would.
I know you bullshit.
No, it was true. The guy was saying it, and he was serious face, serious look on his face.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
So she's pretty fucking desperate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's funny that they're going to that. It makes me think that that's just some cognitive.
You know what it reminds me of? Hillary Clinton winning the presidency sort of reminds me of that book where it's like the name of a year, where there's this woman constantly talking through the whole George Stein. What's it called? White people.
1984.
Yeah, 1984. That's you never seen it?
Yeah. No, of course. Well,
yeah,
it's
it
George
just
Orwell.
reminds
It's a
me
book
of
by
her.
George Orwell.
Yeah, she just keeps going.
Well, our society is that society.
Explain what's the synopsis on that? Because I don't remember.
Okay, it's a dystopian future where there's a endless war that just continues to go on, and they keep people in fear of that, and their whole society is controlled and viewed all times. There's all these sex crime laws. There's all these, which we're seeing a resurgence of.
Right.
With the LGBT laws and whatever.
Yeah. They can't. What can they? You don't have to sell gay people shit.
Yeah, and they also like transgender people have to be in the bathroom that they're genetic. They have a hard time even explaining it. And it's like, what are they gonna do?
You have to be in the district of the bathroom that you were assigned.
Get your best guys.
Nigger?
In
No.
bathrooms. And that is what they are. I mean, it's the niggers of the society. That's who they're going for. Which you know what double NAACP stands for, right?
What?
Niggers aren't always colored people.
That's right.
It's true.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
true.
You should make sure you put that across the screen. Because the American type.
That's and we've been in that society for a while now, and we do have these endless wars that go on. In the book, they call it East versus West.
You know how much it costs?
Or South versus North, or whatever it is.
But it's the same.
It's the same idea. We're fighting Islam or terrorism now. Things that we're not really fighting.
How do you define terrorism anyway? With all that, I know you've talked about it before. What's your idea of terrorism in the sense that it's just one group of primarily brown people from the same race? Isn't that sort of spooky? Because I would be under the assumption that terrorism would include. And I think they're finding that out now. There's like people from Britain and shit fighting with ISIL.
Yeah. Well, okay, they hate Israel, right? So why aren't they attacking Israel? They're right there.
Right.
That's not what it's about.
What really tripped me out? Remember when the Pope's funeral, when they had the Pope's funeral, Now, all these fucking really, really popular, like famous people that you're supposed to hate politically, and nobody blew those fuckers up or nothing. Everybody was walking around like there was no problem at all. I'm just curious as to how long are we supposed to be afraid of all this stuff before we kind of get the idea that it's all about
You shouldn't spend
changing anything.
any amount of time being in fear of terrorism. Okay, I read this statistic the other day that more people have been killed by toddlers in the United States. More Americans have been killed by toddlers getting a hold of daddy's gun and fucking shooting them.
Or when the TV falls
than
off.
terrorists.
Right.
It's not. It's just like, okay, so more people die in car accidents by far. More people die from pharmaceuticals. I mean, are they terrorists? They are.
Right.
You
So
know,
it's kind of. I think what it is too is if you think about people, somebody like Bernie Sanders, like have you ever like really listened to like 20 minutes of him and like
Sure.
heard some of the shit he's talking about?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't.
I'm amazed that they haven't. It makes me doubt the veracity of what he's doing.
How could he be saying the stuff he's saying and not?
Have gotten a bullet in the back of the head already.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some weird explanation on how the bullet flew.
Or a satellite just accidentally landed on his house and destroyed.
I mean,
Is he married?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He hasn't, so far, nobody's called into question the hotness of his wife, probably because he's not running on the Republican ticket. But that's another thing. The Republicans are almost, it seems like they're committing suicide. I mean, that's another Young Turks thing. They were going over, like, all these people that know Ted Cruz. People that have worked with him, people that went to school with him, people that have lived
People
with
who
him.
saw that fucking video of him talking about he gonna rule the earth.
They
when he
hate
was in
him.
college.
Nobody likes
Yeah, he's
everybody. Like, it's like universally everybody hates
He's
him.
crazy.
Yeah, and they were showing stuff from his dad and his campaign manager. There's all this insane religious crap. Like, Jesus tells you who to vote for. That Jesus is against capital gains tax. It's like, are you fucking out of your mind? That doesn't make any sense.
Jesus has designer clothes on the Hollister website. Go there now, Ian.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's when you start mixing religion and politics, it's a bad thing. But I mean, most people are turned off by it. It seems to me.
I think it's got a lot to do with the fucking power. I would say money, but these people have gone to another level. I think it's more about hurting, like what you're saying about that movie, 1984. Why did they call it 1984?
Because that was when it was supposed to. The book by George Orwell was called 1984.
Okay, so here we are in 2016.
Start then, and I think that is when it started, or close to it. And there's another book by Aldous Huxley called Brave New World that everybody that's looking at this should go out and read that. There's a lot of the same. It's a similar concept of this dystopian future where it's supposed to be this utopia, but it for the common people it turns out to not be so great. And they were contemporaries, and there was a lot of that sort of thing going on at that time. And it's here just because it happened gradually and it didn't happen overnight, so nobody even notices it. If you notice that there's all these things that happen. Our clothes are made by Chinese and other slaves. And it's terrible what happens to these people.
Oh, I know.
And it seems like everybody knows about it. And they don't want to fucking talk about it.
Nobody wants to talk about it. I bring up stuff sometimes and people just look at me like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about how amazing I feel.
Yeah.
Let me prompt these guys. Hi, everybody. For those of you who are waiting for me to guest you, I'm not going to do any guesting right now. I'm simulcasting, recording for our YouTube channel. This is my friend and today's co-host, Todd F, and he is like telling us like it is. Todd, let's talk a little bit about the God of your life, who's dead now, that comedian guy that you like.
Carlin?
Yeah. Talk about what do you think matches what he was saying with what we're dealing with? Give us some of those examples of.
Okay. Well, there's this whole monologue that goes that he said he talked about that said that, and this was towards the end of his life. He knew he was going out. He knew he had cancer, and he knew this was probably going to be his last show, which is one of the things that made him so great. and which is inspired later.
He was a
later
realist.
people.
He was real.
He would do this thing where other like hack comedians would they get an act together and they do that for 20 years, the same act.
Right.
He'd do his act for a year and then he'd stop. He'd throw it away.
Right.
And then he had to go
More
deeper
material. Yeah.
to get that to
Right.
that material. But one of his last shows, it's a really great clip, and is he's talking about the owner class. You think that you're free in this country, but you're not. You have owners. They own you.
Right.
They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care anything about you. All they want is more for themselves and less for everybody else. And they will do anything to get there. And he also talks about how don't expect anything to change. Because, I mean, one of his big things was, yeah, you can blame these fucking politicians, but they're not at fault. We put them there. They're us.
Exactly.
We're the people are fucked up. And we will allow these things to happen. If you notice, this is like, okay, with Hillary. See, what they don't want is a population of people capable of critical thinking. That's against their interests.
Uh-oh.
They don't want that. They want people to remain stupid and afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And they go through to great extents to do that. They own the media. They own all the important land. This is all Carlin stuff. The natural resources. That's the reason for those
Gas,
wars.
water, everything.
Yeah. I mean, we're gearing up for a war with Russia right now. Whether or not that's actually going to happen, that's another thing. But we're gearing up for it over natural resources.
Yeah.
And
I like that piece of island, that piece of land you were telling me about right off the coast. I think it's Ukraine.
The Crimea.
Yeah, that they're getting ready to dig. They're getting ready to dig in deep for
There's
that.
a lot of stuff going on over there, and you know.
So what's it like living in the fantasy of this? You know, where we know this shit's going on, but we choose to live in Disneyland world of bullshit and over here picking on each other because of skin color and cars that we drive and things that we like. We fight each other in this sort of primordial kind of little, like groveling cave people, when the real power is in controlling our asses and keeping us dumb enough to have this dominance over us. Why do we do that? What's your take on that? Why do we act like that?
Well, it's the fear. Well, don't worry. Watch football. Don't go to the mall. Buy some shit that you don't need or want to impress people that you don't care or give a fuck about what they think, and it'll make you feel better temporarily.
Right.
Because also you can feel superior. I mean,
right.
But we're also a prisoner of this society. I was born into this society, and there's no other way to live. There's no option.
What do you think about this? What do you think about these people who actually still believe in race is the only thing that's like dividing us up, and then that's what we? I think that is such an old argument now. Now it's more about like, do you know there's so much bullshit in the world or not? I think that's the classification now, that there's so much dominance and creativity around stupid bullshit. Or do you not believe that? I think that's the divide now. I don't believe that it's just rape, because those are all stupid ass things that are old, and I think they've kind of worn off. I think it's escalated to a kind of are you stupid enough to believe that shit or not?
That's the thing.
That's why I love younger people, because they don't. There's a lot of younger people that don't believe in a lot of this crap.
Right. Well, but see, the problem is that they're a product of our school system, which is ridiculous. But it's easier to educate yourself now.
Right.
With this bullshit. But there's also a lot of misinformation on there.
Right.
And you have to. See, they taught you in school how to write a term paper when I was a kid.
Right.
And that was a big deal. The bibliography and the sources. You have to check that stuff. You have to see where that's coming from. And they especially on the internet, they hide themselves with that shit. All these big international conglomerate media companies, who are all actually one, they hide themselves in these internet media sources that act like they're something other than they are.
Right, like little people.
And they throw out disinformation on there. WikiLeaks put out transcripts of the emails that Hillary, the emails in question,
she was hiding. Yeah.
and WikiLeaks made it so that they were searchable.
Right.
And I thought, oh, wow, okay, because there's a lot of information in there. And all I did was type in Israel. That's it. And it was what came up. There was a bunch of them, but the only one that I read was from somebody who worked for her when she was Secretary of State, and she was describing some minor incident that happened over there that probably didn't even make the news here. But the tone and it was so cynical, so straightforward. Okay, this is the situation they went through, and then this is the propaganda about that. Like not even trying to hide it.
No,
This is the propaganda that we're using
that they
now,
speak in.
and then this is the disinformation.
Right.
So we put the propaganda and the disinformation out there to fuck everybody up.
Right.
And this is the history, and the history of this minor event went all the way back to them. And this guy again is just saying this shit straight out. She's supposed to be a Democrat,
right,
and she's supposed to be working for a Democrat.
Right.
And this situation that she's
in
involved in was part of their attempt to discredit Carter, who was actually doing shit.
Right.
Which that whole Iran having the hostages and all that shit was specifically to discredit Carter.
Right.
And I mean, just you remember that, as soon as Reagan came into office, said, "Oh, yeah, we'll let them go." Yeah, he didn't do shit.
No.
It was a planned thing, and they did it. And this email like delineated it.
You know, they've always considered Carter senile and stuff, particularly when he started building homeless people's like homes and stuff.
Yeah.
And left the presidency.
That's still that's his legacy.
Right.
Because that shit still happens. Habitat for Humanity is Carter.
That's right.
The Superfund is Carter.
That's
right. They haven't been able to get rid of that shit. And I grew up here, and I'm looking out at blue skies right now. In the 70s, it wasn't like this.
Right.
It was the air was orange. It was hard to fucking breathe.
Yeah.
Acid rain, all kind of other shit.
That's right.
That's gone.
Yeah.
Because of that Superfund shit, and it was regulation on industry.
For those of you who are just now joining us, I'm talking with Todd, a contributor to our website, a contributor to our channel on YouTube, Dr. DeAndre1. A couple of more things before we end this, because JP gets all nervous about the taping time and all of that. Plus, he's got to edit.
I can see how nervous he is.
It's a frustrating sort of a half Mexican, half French look that I put up with his racism all the time. But he's a loving friend. What do you think about going back to politics? Can you tell me a little bit more about your Donald Trump?
Yeah, I mean, Trump. I could talk about Trump all day. I think.
What do you think about it? Come on, Todd. Why doesn't anybody? You know, I was talking to a guy over on the other side of the planet on Skype this morning, and on the broadcast, he told me that they are embarrassed for Americans to have him in such a position right now. That
it's an embarrassment.
It's very, isn't it? When you think about it like that, it's embarrassing.
I'm not embarrassed by it.
I am.
I don't believe in
nationalism
or political boundaries. I mean, we're.
You think it's all one thing?
We're fucking meat-covered skeletons being controlled by ghosts on a rock hurtling through fucking space right now. Where there's all those things are imaginary lines, and none of that shit, Matt, makes any fucking difference. All the delineations between the different religious groups and the political factions.
It's all bullshit.
It's all fucking bullshit.
Well, you know what? I was listening to the head of NASA on public TV the other day, and he was talking about stuff that was scaring the shit out of me. He was saying the inevitability of some sort of a object hitting this earth is just like gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there like, and I was thinking about my gas bill, you know, because I was thinking about my gas bill. He's right.
Okay, just go watch football. Pro wrestling. We'll be fine. Everything will be all right.
Todd, this is great. Why don't you like football? You look kind of savage, right?
If I was to pick a sport that was going to be on TV all the time and that I would fucking actually watch, it would probably be something like women's beach volleyball or
I
something.
like
It
that.
wouldn't
Now
be
you're
like
right. Here he comes. It's
it
horn
wouldn't
dog
be a
bullshit.
bunch of fucking dudes in tight pants groping each other.
If I were into really like athletics, I have a really good friend who's into this. But my two sports would be skating and ice hockey. As a black person, we are not allowed to really invest in that psychologically, but I have rebelled.
I like ice hockey
Ice hockey because they kick your fucking ass.
Yeah.
And the referees just go, hey, go ahead. You're a crip, you're a blood, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You're right.
No, I mean, I don't buy into the whole competitive sports bullshit.
Yeah, it's all
Everybody just lives their life.
I think a lot of it is fixed too. I don't really think that it's
Are
like.
you kidding? The Mafia makes so much money off of football every year. You think they just let it go? Oh yeah, just see what happens.
No,
That's how they do things, right?
It's just like the boxing too. I think all of it is. All of it. Anyway, we're getting signals to wrap this up. Listen, I want to invite Todd back yet again. This is his third appearance on our showgram, and we appreciate him. We love him. He is awesome. Go to you now too. If you, chances are when you get this, by the time you get this, it's recorded and up on YouTube. I bet I'd be willing to bet $20 that I can borrow from him.
Actively commenting on
this right here is active and live. We are number one on the trend of it. We are trending.
Are there comments on there?
Yeah, they're commenting. They're just saying they're watching us. These guys are giving us likes. See right here?
Yeah.
We are number one out of all these people. We are number one on advice.
Nice.
That's fucking nice.
Nice.
And these are my friends who are broadcasting on different channels.
Can we tell them to show us their tits?
This is not a porn. See, now he getting into his personal bullshit. And I am not.
I'm just kidding, guys. I really don't.
I'm black and I'm on a low fish diet. I don't know. Anyway, that's all. That's all the time we have now for talking shit. I'm DeAndre.